welcome in to another crochet tutorial. Today we are doing an amigurumi heart. Amigurumi, we're going to need some fibre fill. Whether you are ripping apart a disused cushion or pillow to get the stuffing out, or whether you've actually bought yourself some, you're going to need a good handful. You're also going to need a couple of stitch markers. I'm going to use my hanky markers. These and my other markers can be seen on Etsy if you're willing to go and take a look, but you will need two. You'll also need a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, and two different colours of yarn, preferably contrasting colours. Depending on whether you want a small delicate heart, then you use a thinner wool. If you'd like something a little bit bigger, then use a chunky wool, and of course a corresponding hook size to your wool. So I'm going to use the darker green first, and let's get going. So we need to start with a slip stitch, and from that slip stitch we are going to chain 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. So as soon as you've got your 30, you want to grab a stitch marker and get ready, because we're going to put a single crochet in the second from the hook. So not this one here, but this one. Go in for a single crochet, and as soon as you have made your stitch, place on your marker. And then continue to do a single crochet along the row. And when you get to the end, you'll meet me there. Or I hope you will. So just coming up to the end. And 3, 2, 1, and done. Now on that last stitch, take another marker and place, before doing, another 2 single crochets in that same stitch. So 1 and 2, and that will be a total of 3 all in the same. Now, instead of turning our work like we ordinarily would do, kind of like a book where we're flipping it, we're turning it so that our foundation chain is now on the top of our work. And with your tail, if you hold it close to your work, you can crochet it in so you don't have to weave it in later, because not many people like weaving in ends. So we have our stitch marker in. We have done 3 single crochets in that last stitch, and then we're going to start along that foundation chain again, going in the opposite direction with single crochets and holding that tail next to your work so that you don't have to get the yarn needle out for that later. So keep going all the way along until you get to the other stitch marker, and I will meet you there. Almost at the end. One more. And that's the last stitch. we're moving our stitch marker to the last stitch that we've just made on the end of the row, like that. And then we are placing one more single crochet into that last chain. Start turning, and we want 2 into the next chain, 2 single crochets, and in the next another 2 single crochets. Now we're around the corner, we want to single crochet all the way to the next stitch marker. So, of course, oops, I'll meet you there. Coming up to the end now. Next stitch is the stitch marker, so we're going to remove the stitch marker, place a single crochet where the stitch marker was, and then replace the stitch marker into the stitch that we've just done before making another single crochet into that same space. And into the next, another 2 single crochets in the very next stitch, and 2 single crochets into the next, which will then complete our corner. Okay, so now we're around the corner. You might guess what's going to happen now. Yep, we're going along that line right up to the next stitch marker. So I will meet you there. Coming up to the end. And there's our stitch marker. So we're going to take out the stitch marker. We're going to put in a single crochet and replace the stitch marker. And now we are going to do 2 into the next, 1 into the next, 2 single crochets in the next, and then 1 more in the next. And now things switch up a little bit. So as soon as you've rounded that corner, oh, bear with me. Sorry, someone was at the door. This is where we switch things up. So as soon as you've gone around that corner, you're then going to chain 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oops. Now I've lost. Did that come out? I'm going to start that again to make sure that I do it properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 and 25. Now, you need to make sure this is not going to twist, but this chain is now going to come right across, and you're going to secure it or anchor it in place in the stitch before the stitch marker. So in that stitch before, you're going to put a single crochet. You must make sure that that chain does not twist, because otherwise you will know about it and it will mess up your work. Please don't do that. Okay, from here we are going to do a single crochet where the stitch marker is. So we're taking stitch marker out, placing a single crochet and putting the stitch marker back in, and then from there we're going to do 2 single crochets into the next stitch, 1 and 2, 1 into the next, 1, 2 into the next, 1, 2, 1 into the next, 1, 2 into the next, 1, 2, and then 1 more single crochet in before we do another chain of 25. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And we're doing the same again. So you need to make sure it is not twisted. As you lay it, make sure it's all okay, it's all flat. And then once again, we're taking the stitch before the stitch marker, and we are going to anchor in that long chain into the stitch before the stitch marker with a single crochet. Okay. Then from here, we're going to do a single crochet where the marker is. So we're going to remove the marker, place in a single crochet, and replace the marker. Two single crochets into the next stitch, 1 and 2, 1 into the next, 2 single crochets into the next stitch, 1 into the next, 2 into the next, and then from here you will notice that there is the chain. We're starting the chain now. So you are going to go and single crochet all the way across the chain, and I'll meet you back when we get to our stitch marker. So now I'm coming up to the stitch marker. I've just got to do a couple more chains. Not chains, sorry, stitches, single crochets. And then we're at our stitch marker. So we're going to take out the stitch marker. bear with me. I apologise, another knock at the door. So stitch marker is out, and in its place for the moment we're going to put a single crochet and then replace the marker around that stitch that we've just done, and then do a single crochet into the next stitch, followed by 2 single crochets in the next, one single crochet in the next 2 stitches, 2 single crochets into the next 1 stitch, 1 single crochet into the next, 1 into the next, and finish off that corner by putting 2 single crochets in that next stitch. Okay, so from here we're going to go all the way along that chain up to the stitch marker. So single crochet all the way along, and I'll meet you at the stitch marker. So I'm just finishing off the chain. Oops. And we're now at the stitch marker. So taking the stitch marker out, and this is where you can remove the stitch markers if you wish to. Just make sure you're aware of where the corner starts. If you want to keep the stitch markers in, you keep them in. We've just put our stitch marker down, so now we're going to put a single crochet in its place. Oops. My yarn does not want to come out. There we go. Replace the stitch marker, and then we're going to put a single crochet into the next stitch, 2 single crochets into the next, 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, 2 single crochets into the next, 1 single crochet into the next, and the next, and finish off that corner by putting 2 into the next stitch, 2 single crochets, done. Okay, and then we carry on as we have before. So just single crochet all the way to the next corner, or the next stitch marker if you're keeping your stitch markers in, and I will meet you there. Almost to the end. And if you have your stitch markers in, take out, place a single crochet in, and then replace your stitch marker on that stitch, and then put another single crochet into that same stitch. Then do 3 single crochets in a row. So 1, 2, and 3, and then 2 single crochets into the next stitch, 1, 2, then 3 single crochets in a row, 1, 2, 3, 2 single crochets into the next stitch, and that is your corner done. And from there you're going to single crochet all the way along to the next stitch marker. So I will meet you there. Almost at the end. And the next stitch, if you've got your stitch marker, you need to take that out, place a stitch marker where it came out, and replace the stitch marker if you're using, and then place another single crochet into that same stitch, followed by the next 3 stitches all have 1 single crochet into each of them. Oops. Followed by 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Then a single crochet in the next, and the next, and the next. 2 single crochets into the same stitch, and we are now around that corner, so you know what I'm going to say next, right? Single crochet all the way along until you get to the next corner, and yes, I'll meet you there. Last couple going in. If you've got your stitch marker, take it out, place a single crochet where that came from. Oops, sorry. Stitch marker back in. And then we're placing 1 into the next stitch. 2 into the next. 1 single crochet into the next, and the next, followed by 2 single crochets into the next, a single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches, then 2 single crochets in the same stitch, followed by a single crochet and another single crochet, followed by 2 single crochets, and we're around the corner. Coming up to that next corner. If you've got your stitch marker, take it out, place in a single crochet and reposition that stitch marker over the stitch that you've just made. and then a single crochet into the next stitch, 2 into the next, a single crochet in the next and the next, followed by 2 single crochets into the next stitch, one single crochet in the next and the next, followed by 2 single crochets into the next stitch, one single crochet into the next 2, and 2 single crochets into the next, and then from there it's all single crochets once again up to the next marker. It's taking shape. If you've got that stitch marker in, you can remove it entirely now. I'll put that with the other Etsy stitch markers. And then we are going to do 5 single crochets in a row, including in that one stitch that you've just taken the marker out of. So 1 single crochet in the next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, followed by 2 single crochets into the next stitch, 1 and 2, then 5 single crochets in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then 2 into the next, 1 and 2, sorry. I'm going to do this last line on camera just to finish off. So just 1 single crochet in each, I might kill the cat during this video. There may well be a murder on my hands. So if any red mixes with the green, I'm so sorry. She's looking for a way to pounce upon the desk. Okay. Heading along that line. Just 1 single crochet in each. Oops, sorry. Almost there. And stitch marker can now come out completely and join the other. And from here we are doing 5 single crochets in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, followed by 2 single crochets into the same stitch. 1 and 2, 5 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and finishing with 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And that is where you can fasten off. So we take our scissors, snip, oops, sorry, and then just sew in that end. It doesn't overly matter how you do the sewing because it's not a garment, but if it's possible that your amigurumi might get played with, then I would suggest when you weave in your ends, go in all sorts of directions because there's less chance of it coming undone. Okay. Okay. So there we have 1. Oh, that's not a heart. Nope, but you're going to need to make 2. So make sure you've got 2 and then meet me back. So once you have both, what you're going to need to do is fold both of them in half like that. So you've got kind of a jellyfish or 3 legs, however you want to look at it. But you do that with both of them. And then we're going to play basket weaving with them. Take your first leg and your first leg, and this one is going through and then around the next leg and through the last. Make sure they're nice and close to the top so you don't have a gap, and then move on to the next leg where we do the opposite. So because we went through on this one, we're now going over and then through the middle one and around the last. And again, bring it up, tweak, pull, manipulate a little bit, and then the last leg through, around the middle one, and through the last. And again, manipulate, make sure it's all flat and not twisted or bunched up. And there you have your heart, almost. What you need to do now is get a length of the wool that you were using. And your tapestry needle. And from here, we are going to start sewing. If you don't like sewing, I'm sorry. So I'm starting with my dark green. Obviously, you start with whatever your colour is that you wish to start with. And from the inside, you want to place your needle and push that little bit of excess inside and close up the leg, and then just a nice simple straight stitch to close up that leg. Move that up a little bit. And then I'll do one more before I move slightly. So now I'm moving this down a bit. Okay, now when you've come to where you've gone around the leg, like this one, you don't want this bit to show. So you want to keep that inside, but for extra support, go through that as well as the colour that you're on, just to kind of anchor it and keep it in place a little bit more securely. So in, through both legs and out the other side. And I'm not a sewer. I'm sure people that can sew are looking at this going, what on earth is she doing? Whoever you are, you're better than me, go for it. I'm doing it as simply as I know, but getting the job done. Because I can't sew for cake. Or chocolate. Or Twizzlers. I am going to kill the cat. I'm going to kill the cat. I'm going to kill the cat. I know. I'm nearly finished. I'm getting told off. Whoops, what have I done? What did I do? Oh, I see. Okay. Whoopsie daisy. I see what I did. I was getting distracted by the cat that does that. Okay. So let me just get that needle on the other side. And then I won't have that problem. There we go. Move that out of the way for the moment, while I just sew this bit up. And I'm just going into each of the obvious stitches. So there's a stitch there, I'm going through it and then through the one that's dead opposite. So nothing overly complicated. I can see where I'm going, and that's good enough for me. It's very awkward when I can't move my elbow now because I've got a cat sitting on it. Nearly there. Heading on to the top of the heart now. Going around the corner. So you want to do this on both sides. But I am going to stop this one here just before I get to there. And I'm going to go and sew up this bit, leaving that bit of a gap, and I'll meet you back here. Maybe without a cat? Maybe. Okay, we still have a cat, but I've left an opening, keeping the needle in. Just going to open up the heart a little bit, and we're going to put in some fill. You can leave it flat, of course, if you wish. You don't have to make it an amigurumi. But if you do make it an amigurumi, don't overstuff it. But make sure you get down into the corner and your heart is full before you close it up completely. So that was just a literal handful. Just gonna finish off the light side. Oh gosh, it sounds like Star Wars. Onto the light side. Sorry. So just coming down to that divot, in the heart. I know that the light is on top of the dark, so I'm going to switch back to the dark just for a moment, just to finish the last couple of stitches of the dark side. And then we can cut that and end with the light. There we go. I'm going to put that through so it's on the inside, and snip it. Poke it in, and then I'm finishing with my light side. And one more should do it. And then I'll take my needle and pop it through the middle of the heart so that the yarn will end inside. Give it a snip, poke it in, manipulate the heart a little bit, and there we have our amigurumi heart. That still needs a little bit of playing with because I've still got a gap. But there it is. Boom, 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 boom. An amigurumi heart. So, gonna give it a go. Make it in your favourite colours, the colours that you love, or put it in somebody else's colours and give it to them as a gift so that they can hold your heart. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.